And welcome back. We move into the first part of our discussion for this morning with two young, brilliant minds, where we're going to be speaking about UReport, what UReport is about, and how you can become a part of the UReport movement. Joining us this morning, we have the coordinator for UReport, Renata Samuels, as well as Erwin Wills, who is the content manager and ambassador for UReport. Renata, Erwin, good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having us, guys. Thanks for the warm welcome.
It's definitely good to see you guys. It's been a while, Renata.
I know it's been very, very long, but it's always nice to be on Open Your Eyes and to see the warm smiles and to be welcomed with you guys. So I'm happy to be here. And the first segment, we have to start off with a pizzazz.
Early bird catches the most worms, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So Renata, speak to us about UReport. It's a social tool that is used to collect information. Can you give us more details about UReport and what it's all about?
Of course, no problem. So UReport is a free messaging tool. I like to express that. Free. F-R-E-E. So it does not cost you a thing, right? And so you get through WhatsApp or Messenger. We're presently on the way going to talk to Digital and Smart about SMS. However, that's in the making. We're not going to touch that as yet. But good things are coming. Good things are coming. Yeah. But yes, so it's a free messaging tool. We use WhatsApp and Messenger. What we do is, if you've ever done a multiple choice, or even if you have Instagram and you've done a poll or something to that effect, it's like we send out a question and basically you answer based on your opinion. And what happens that answers all those information is pulled together in statistics. And then we put it on a website where policymakers, program makers, any young person can go on and see those information, that information, and be able to know more or less what the general population is thinking. And it's super cool because the information can be filtered based on age, gender, based on district. So all these things, if you're in school, out of school, all these things we can look up. So say, for example, we send out a poll on domestic violence. And we're only targeting, or we want to know about young people ages 15 to 19 in Belize City specifically. And maybe it's only young women and they have to be in school. Like we can filter the information to know that exact information. And so it's so cool. And I have to say that it's confidential and anonymous, even though it's used through WhatsApp and Messenger. So we have this really cool software. And what we do with the software is you register and you're going to answer about 6 questions. The basic, if you want your poll in English or Spanish, because we cater to both, we know. And so you get your age, your gender, in school, out of school, your district, if you're in the rural or urban areas, because we filter it to that way as well. And then you're officially registered. You're represented by probably a significant code, a long code. So we don't know who you are, even though you're using your Messenger app or your WhatsApp app.
What's the purpose of the program? So
UReport was designed originally in Uganda. So it's not something for just Belize. It's an international thing. There's over 80 countries internationally that have UReport. We're actually the 3rd Caribbean country to sign on to UReport. So big things, woo! And so the purpose of it is to really it says over there in the graphic, to gain community participation. Young people in Uganda, there's about almost a close 70%, like how Belize has, that is generally a young population. And they felt that their policymakers, their government, they were not listening to the young people. And it was really hard to mobilize. I think anybody here who's ever done a survey knows that if you go from door to door, it becomes very tedious. It's costly. So it's a lot of things with that. But all young people have their phone on them 24/7. And you use WhatsApp, you use Messenger on a day-to-day basis. So what it takes from someone to be able to just answer a poll on their phone, it's confidential, it's anonymous, and so they can gather that information and finally cater to direct needs of young people. Because you're answering, it's not a test to know if you know the right answer. This is what you feel. And so these results are used to kind of speed up the process of what policymakers, program makers, youth groups, any individual, any party, any organization that wants to know about specific topics or actually inform people about topics. Because we've taken it to the next step now, where you actually just recently we had a COVID vaccine poll, where they can learn about the COVID vaccine, what information, the myths that they have for the COVID vaccine, what would be your time to take the vaccine. So we're flipping it now to not just only get information from young people, but give them as well at the same point. And you get to figure out what information you want, because in that poll, you get to decide if you want to learn about the myths, if you want to learn about when you can, it's the rollout age, all these things you get to learn, and you choose that.
So since this rollout, how many people have actually signed on to the, how many young people have actually signed on to the program, and how do you know they're young people?
So over 5,000 people have registered for UReport thus far, and I feel like we can do so much better because this is Belize, like, come on, right? Other places, I mean, like Jamaica, so they have a good amount, thousands, but that's a different story, and I feel like we could kickstart this and do a little bit more.
Yeah.
For the age range, like I told you, when you register, you're filtered.
Okay.
And so we can know exactly ages from, like I said, from the youngest, actually, sorry, I forgot to mention that you can, 13 and above, that's when you can register for UReport. So we know all those ages, we can filter it by that.
13 to 24?
No, 13 to above. Anybody else.
Age.
Yeah, anyone. So, and that's the thing, because originally when we were selling the idea of UReport, we first started off with about it's a young people thing.
Yeah, that's
because,
what I thought.
of course, the majority of population in Belize is a young population of a young country.
Yeah.
However, we wanted to open it up because people that are 35, people that are 40, they have opinions too as well. And it's not like we can't filter the information. So we kind of like skipped it about and fixed it around and made it up to be something that we want community participation. We want everyone involved. We want everyone's opinion. We're kind of looking at the young people because they're the majority. However, we're not turning down any other person that would want to be a part of the process, because whatever happens will be affecting them as well in some kind of form.
Okay.
I want to bring Erwin into this conversation. Erwin, speak to us about your role as the ambassador and content manager of the UReport.
Hey, good morning. Thank you for having me. So as the ambassador, my main, let me start off by saying there's a whole team of ambassadors. I'm just one of the...
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, I'm just one of the ambassadors. And our main goal is to really get out there, get in the trenches and interact with individuals. We are the ones who are talking on a daily basis with individuals, telling them about UReport, asking them if they're willing to sign up. Of course, it has to be voluntary. So I can't go up to someone and be like, hey, you should sign up for this, and don't tell them what the program is about.
Yeah.
I personally, when I first heard about the program, I was a bit skeptical because, you know, especially on the WhatsApp, there's a lot of scams going around. So most individuals I've interacted with, I've had to convince that it's not a scam. It's actually a useful tool that we ourselves can use to develop Belize. Our voices can be heard. And if we're serious about change, it has to start from us. So they have to be willing. So I can't force someone to sign up. They have to be willing to sign up and make their voices heard. So as ambassador, we are really out there in the trenches. And by trenches, I mean online. Especially with COVID now, we wouldn't recommend anyone to go in person to, say, a market and interact with people. So it's mostly online that we're ambassadoring, if I can use that term now.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that and you brought that up, because I understand also that the UReport also plays into decision making of policies and stuff like that. Speak to us a bit about that as well.
Yes, so as the graphics have shown, all the feedback is compiled into one big database, and we can't tell who directly said what, so it's totally anonymous. We can just tell that groups of respondents from, say, Kyle reacted such and such a way to, for example, the vaccine poll. So we can see that, we can just see that individuals in Kyle would be, as an example, less open to taking the vaccine. And then we can use that information to feed to policymakers and be like, okay, we need to change the way information is being delivered to people to Kyle so they can be more accepting of whatever change we're trying to make. So that's how the information works. Again, we can see that Erwin from Belmopan said this about the vaccine. It's totally anonymous. We can just see that groups of individuals ages 20 to 25 or ages 20 to 30 reacted such a way to polls based on the topics that we have at hand. And the topics range from everything from vaccine to gender-based violence to education So it's really what's happening in Belize at the time
Yeah.
to get the youth
Yeah.
interested to respond.
So who would commission the poll? Can someone just say, okay, I work for a gender-based violence organization. I want to know how people feel about this. They can go to UReport and request a poll?
Yes.
Yeah, I
So-
believe. Yeah, Renata, you can touch on that.
Yeah, sorry. That's more on the coordinator side there. So there is actually a pool of a steering committee where we have people from different NCFC, from local government, from Scouts Association, from BFLA, all these people, all these different organizations that stare and work with young people on a daily basis, they are represented on this committee. And we tend to get in the polls. We've gotten polls from Ministry of Human Development. We've gotten polls from Women's Commission. We've gotten polls from all different places. And so what we do is normally get the poll in and you have to explain why you want the poll. We actually go through the polls and make sure it's youth friendly because it's not a test we're making the young people take.
Yeah.
So we've gotten polls before where it's like, you think you're in school and it's an exam and they want you to like have an open-ended and so much questions to answer. And we actually, we tell them no, and we have to restructure and we have to go back to the drawing board because we're making it youth friendly. We're making it so young people actually want to answer. And so that's how normally the way of the poll goes. And we approve it and go from there. And then we would roll out the poll.
And is there a team that helps to write the polls? Because you know that in polling, one of the most critical aspects of the accuracy is based on how the questions are written, because they can lend to particular answers if it's not written properly.
Excellent question. Yes. We on the committee, we are trained. However, like Erwin was telling you, there are polls on different things, education. We have polls on mental health. So for specific polls as well, we bring in an expert that's like in that field.
Yeah.
And we would go over the poll with that person, ask them, do you think this language is okay? And then of course on our end, we have young people too that will be able to say, you know what, let's not use this word too as well. Let's work with that. So there's a lot of thought process that goes into the poll.
Now, tell us about some of the polls that you have done so far. You mentioned COVID-19 vaccine, that was one.
So we did the COVID-19 vaccine, we did one on domestic violence, we've done one on education, we've done one on climate change, we've done one on early child union, which was pretty cool too because we found out some real nitty-gritty information about Belize for that, and we actually had to build a roadmap to end early child union. We kick-started that. We've done one for Ministry of Education on feeding programs, and we actually changed the feeding program, the national feeding program for Belize based on the opinion of the young people. We've done one for poverty to kickstart a policy that was for, I think it was for economic development. I'm not too sure exactly right now, but so like I said, people specifically send in based on needs, and if we see based on that need that it's something that will help our young people, the data will be very influential, then we would go with that. As well as internationally, polls are sent out that everyone worldwide are doing polls. So the same COVID vaccine one, that was one that was actually international, just not just us. So other places around the world did that one too. As well as the same one on climate change too, that was for Earth Day.
Yeah.
We did one on a specific day. And so we'd also do it on specific days too as well.
Yeah.
So like I said, since it's international, sometimes we get our polls from outside. Those polls that are from outside, we don't really vet because it's already vetted by everyone. It's gone into the whole nitty-gritty stuff and everything. And so we just normally run those polls. But the ones specifically for Belize that are requested, those are the ones that we truly vet.
If I could add in with the topic that Renata touched on, international, I'd like to say that the UReport platform is for Belizeans in general, especially UReport Belize. And you don't have to be living in Belize currently to participate. So for example, as ambassadors, our job is to reach out to as many individuals as we can. And I myself, I know many Belizeans, especially young Belizeans who are away studying temporarily at school. So I have friends in Trinidad, in the US, and Canada. And I still reach out to them to register as well, because even though you're not physically in Belize, you still have a home. So you register using your home address. So if you're from Cayo, or you're living in Canada, you register as someone who lives in Cayo. And you can still provide your feedback, even though you're currently away from Belize. Because at the end of the day, Belize is still your home. and you still deserve a voice on what decisions are happening in Belize.
Awesome. If you could speak to us quickly, Renata, about just one of the particular areas that has been polled that has received great feedback or response. Which area of concern would that be, or which area of social response did we receive a great amount of feedback in terms of the participation?
We've received a lot of feedback when it comes to education and mental health. I remember clearly because we had sent out for Ministry of Education a poll that was about scholarship opportunities, what would we need to do in the system of when it comes to like testing and so forth. And people were really into that poll. And we also had the poll on mental health, talking about who do you speak to? Do you know about resources? Do you trust the resources in Belize? And again, a lot of feedback came back on those specific polls. We found out a lot about how young people actually don't want to speak to anybody, maybe a friend the most. And a lot of young people feel very dreary and sad, and it goes for long periods of time sometimes. And so it made us go to the right people, the counselors, all of these people that deal with mental health, and check with them and say, okay, this is the problem that we're having right now. There needs to be a new trust that's built. Because a lot of times we've heard people say that we don't trust counselors, or we don't trust this system, or we don't trust whatever it is, right? But we hear it. It's not a matter of actually seeing data. And that's what I love about the UReport platform, because it allows you to actually see the data. People are answering. So this is not just a hearsay business. It's really like, you know well in there that Corozal to Toledo, people are saying this. People that are 25 years old that are in this specific village are saying this. So you actually have the content to back up whatever you're pushing for somebody. And I always say, if we decide to build, and we are allowed to build the UReport platform to about 20, 30,000, 40,000 people, you go to a policymaker, you go to any government and be like, okay, 40,000 people, all 40,000 of your young people said X, Y, and Z that they need this. What are you gonna do with these numbers? Are you just gonna sit there and watch these numbers?
Yeah.
So that's the power that comes with it. And that's why I always push that you register, you let your voices be heard, you know, even if it's not a topic that you're that passionate about, learn about it, because it's a chance for you to learn a little bit too as well, not only give information, but get something from it as well.
Right, right.
So the other question I have is looking at the results. Do you, if I participate in the poll, do I see real-time results, or do I get the final results, or I just send my opinion out and then I don't know?
So you send your opinion. Well, technically you answer the poll.
Yeah.
And what we do is we have a website that you go on, and then all the polls are structured and organized there based on year, based on the topic and so forth. And you can go, and it's really cool in graphics too, where it shows like male to female ratio, all of these things. So it's very youth friendly.
Okay.
And so anyone has access to go on that website. Any person, it doesn't matter your age, you could be 12 and you could go on a website and you can see that. And actually just recently, I remember one of my friends came out and asked if they could get the same early child union poll, because somebody in Trinidad was doing a study on it and they wanted something from Belize. And so we had the data right there, that somebody could actually use that data from Belize. They can go on the website, see everything, see the questions that were asked, see young people, male to female ratio, everything, and they could use that for their study. So as you can see, the benefits of it.
Now I understand that there are some openings for new ambassadors and content managers. Speak to us a bit about what are the eligibilities and the requirements to become an ambassador and a content manager?
Yes, so I'm super excited about the new roles. Erwin was one of those people that helped me with new roles, and I had 2 other young people, because at first when we started the ambassador program, we were just trying our best to push young people like Erwin and this other young lady that are the top ambassadors right now, Soul Main. And we were trying to push for these young people to just be at the forefront, because it's not on my platform, it's their platform, it's our platform. We're working together, and like, oh, Erwin talks about they're on the computer doing the like the nitty-gritty, talking to their friends, selling this to everybody, you know. And so after that, we realized that there's some young people that are they're struggling with that idea of just solely talking to somebody, because it's a lot of work. Erwin could tell you it's a lot of work to go and convince people to sign on, especially like he mentioned the thing about scam. So that was a lot of work in itself to like try to like, please follow scam guides. I know the WhatsApp link looks funny, but click on it. It's cool. So we introduced 3 other new roles to the UReport leader platform. And we have, of course, the ambassador, which is basically a person that is in the field or on the phone, that I would say, because I wouldn't say field because they're not going out there like that, but that person that is helping us to gather and get and recruit people for the UReport platform. So they're the one doing the registration process, explaining the process of what UReport is, showing past polls to them, and just giving the importance of it. They're the one that are, in case there's a need for them to do a poll, pushing out, hey, do the domestic violence poll. It's just, type in this, etc. And the poll will come up for you and you can do it, whatever it is, right? So those are the ambassadors. The criteria for that, we actually made it very open because we know as young people, we have these limitations. We have the age for 13 to 29. And so that is the age range because that's the age range what UReport starts with 13. It goes above, but you know what I mean? And so that's for the ambassador. It's the age range and your availability because you're volunteering your time. And so with that specifically, we had the young people sit down virtually and they decided how their program would roll out. It finishes in November. They graduate with a award ceremony where they're going to be getting their awards of being an ambassador, a virtual certificate, graduating with cash prize and so forth. They decided all of that because Department of Youth Services, UNICEF, all of these partners have decided that we really need to make young people be at the forefront, deciding exactly their fate. So they decide exactly how the program is going to run, what they're going to get out of the program. And so for these new roles that we're having, 3 new ones, Erwin actually just got one of them, the content manager, where basically we have the young people sharing their bright ideas of what they want on the page, what they want on the Instagram and the Facebook page. They're going to be the ones that are going to be approving every single thing when it comes to media, all the ideas, the new commercials that we're planning to do, and doing this, open your eyes on the media runs and so forth. These are the content managers' job. They're going to be helping with the exposure of UReport, helping with the following and so forth. And so if anybody wants to be a content manager, if you're good in graphics or you're just good with ideas on a whole, go to the UReport Facebook page or go and email us at UReportBelize1@gmail.com, UReportBelize1, or go on the Instagram page at UReportBelize as well, and you can message in and ask to be a content manager. There's also the UReport Hangout Coordinator, where basically we're trying to do virtual hangouts right now, where we have young people talk about the issues of life, because it's not only about poll, but we have to get people riled up about things that are happening in Belize, things that they care about, right? And if we can actually have somebody as well there that is an expert that can shed some light, that's what's going to happen. So the coordinator is responsible for exactly what they do, coordinating those hangouts, those virtual hangouts, where they're going to have young people come and they're going to talk about a specific topic. They're going to invite somebody that's maybe an expert on that specific topic to shed some light, not necessarily have to do a speech on it, but if young people have questions, they answer it and so forth. So the coordinator is responsible for documenting that. And then if that topic seems to be so much of something that we need to put some information into, we're going to then pull that into a poll later on. And so it's a really good job where you can be able to rile up our young people, get them that fire and so forth. So if you're a person that is good at planning and you are passionate about specific topics and so forth, because the coordinators pick the topics. They're the one that basically facilitate and do all the nitty-gritty. So they're planning and doing that. And so
I was gonna ask Erwin to kind of just give us some perspective here about volunteering to be a part of the program and whether it has been as enjoyable as an experience as you anticipated.
It has been, actually. It has surpassed my expectations, given that coming in, I honestly didn't know what UReport was at the time. I had to message one of my friends and be like, hey, I know you participated in this a while back. What exactly is this about? So I registered before I even got a reply from my friend. And UReport has been a community that I can rely on. For example, we have multiple group chats with different individuals based on your roles. And each group chat, we share, we talk. I remember when you first created the group chat, everyone was messaging how excited they were about participating. They're sending pictures of their bios and everything like that. So it's really I would say, surpassed my expectations. And for example, Renata has given me some opportunities that I wouldn't have gotten without UReport. So UReport has been more than I expected. It's a great way to meet new individuals as well. And it's a great way to tap into your potential, because especially now in the times of COVID, we can't really go outside. So most of our efforts are based online. So if you're not someone who's very sociable, I would say, now is your time to shine, because you can do everything through an online platform. You don't necessarily have to show your face. So if you want to be involved and you want to get that community participation and you want to change Belize, now is the time to do so without actually going to interact with people in person. So I would say now is the perfect time for both individuals who are introverts and extroverts to get involved. And even if you don't see a role that you willingly want to take right now, you can just sign up as an ambassador, recruit individuals, and if you change your mind over time, you can always apply to be a content manager, a hangout host, or any other posts within the UReport organization.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for telling us all about what you're doing there, and we do hope that some young people take advantage of the opportunity. Yeah. So thank you once again, and best of luck.
Thank you too.
All right.
You all have a great day.
And with that, we're going to go ahead and take a break, and we'll be back in a few.